Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to part two, updating our website. That's the second part of updating our website series, but it's also, this is the 28th of the 500 webinars that we're doing. Just kidding. It got a little confusing because we put part two on here, but this is probably the fourth one we've done. And we'll continue to do those throughout the year. And so today we going to get into some more best practices, and then navigation menu. I'm going to show you how to demo. I'm going to demo how to add those pages that we created in our last webinar to the actual landing page in the front, so that have the home page so that people can navigate to it. And just wanted to introduce ourselves again. This is the goofy pictures that I'm subjecting everyone to. Once again, Guy and Abby Willig are your hosts. Yeah, I'll click through that real quick. And so I'm going to turn this over to Abby, who is our business solutions guru, and she's going to walk you through some best practices. Abby?
All right, thanks, Guy. So for the agenda today, as you can see, best practices for menu navigation. So just some industry research that we've done. Obviously, menu navigation is simple, but there are best practices for it. And then again, Guy will be helping you connect those pages to your menu navigation, and then Q&A, and then just a little bit of a piece about market. All right, so first things first. So I'm sure most people do know what menu navigation is. It's called different things: menu bar, nav, menu, all kinds of who knows what. So this technically, though, is called the navigation menu. So you have your header, which is the one that you see first on the top image, just an example there. And then each of those can have a drop down, or they don't have to, or it can just go directly to a page. And then you also have your footer, which can be any of those remaining menu items that you don't add to your header. So the purpose of focusing on this today is because without navigation, websites can appear unstructured and unorganized. It's really just a sign of the depth and knowledge in your site. And then people have a really clear indication of what's available, what they can find, and what they can expect from the website. And this is, I started in the internet side of things in late 90s, and this was probably one of the first things that we started with, was having a menu. So people have always had menu bars and, being able to navigate there. So something that people are definitely used to, and they're always looking for it. So one important piece is that navigation actually does affect traffic to your site. So that's one reason why it's very important. It's going to affect how high you will rank. So Google is looking at your navigation and seeing, again, does it make sense when the user is looking at it? Does it make sense as to the content of the website? And then it will also determine how much traffic you do get from that search when they are searching on Google or any other ones as well. Navigation also affects conversion. So the most important piece, we all want more sales. So the easier that it is for the site to use for the person that's coming to your site, the more the quicker it'll be for them to convert to purchase an item or to fill out a lead form or anything like that. So again, that's going to help with our ultimate mission there. So just a couple of tips. I could talk all day about tips for making your navigation better, but I really wanted to just narrow it down to the most important pieces. So you really want to limit the number of menu items to 7. So I have run into, in my world of web development and all of that, I've run into a lot of people that want to add like 12 items to the menu bar. So you have 12 of those across the bar, and that is just not a good practice. First of all, it's not going to look good if they're looking at it on a smaller monitor, if they're looking at it on mobile. And a best practice in the industry is really just to limit that number to 7. So just keep that in mind. And then your order is important. So you always remember what's first and last. So anything that's going in the middle of those, people aren't as likely to remember. So if you have something that's important, then you would want to put it at one of the first items or the last item. So if you want them to shop now, then I would recommend putting it at either the beginning or the end of the menu. And then, if employment's a high priority right now, trying to get new employees, maybe put that at the other end as well. And you can move those around as often as you like, and that's what we're going to show you today. You also want to keep mobile in mind. So again, check these out after you do them on your desktop. You would want to go to your mobile site, go to your website on mobile, and make sure that it looks okay. Make sure that it's easy to access and to tap, because most people are using their mobile when they're shopping on a website. And then you want to be specific. So people don't go to websites looking for videos or white papers. They visit websites looking for answers and information. So if you want someone to start shopping, tell them that. Don't be vague about your calls to action. And just quote here, good navigation is one of the most key features of a website. There's no right way to design it. You just must consider how much you can enable first-time and repeat visitors to get the most out of your site. So that's kind of been the theme with all of this, is just think when you're shopping a website, or you're shopping on a website or viewing someone's website, how easy is this for me to use? And do I feel frustrated when I'm trying to find something? Is it easy to find? And if you kind of put yourself in the shoes of the customer, I find that it really helps you determine what is missing from your website. So, again, very simple things that we can do, but, just hopefully this is helpful to everyone, just as a reminder of how to manage your menu navigation. So I'll pass it back to Guy, who can show you how to put this into action. What a great picture.
Thank you, Abby, for the picture again. All right. So we're going to work through this last webinar. We went through and created a new page. And then I had a couple of you say, hey, you left us hanging, because what are we supposed to do with that new page? Which is true. And we're following it up then with this to show you how to put it on the nav bar. So we talked a little bit about this navigation bar. And we're gonna add a link right here past this local delivery, but you can see here all the options on this is our test site. So obviously we have a lot of these. And as Abby said, best practice would be to limit these. But so for starters, you get into your Mosi admin and you want to go down on your menu item. You don't have as many menu items as I do, but you will have one that says menu. You click on that menu, you should have 3 of these menu items. You'll have a header, a footer, and a bottom. The bottom you can disregard. The footer, we can talk about eventually. It's a little more intense, but the header navigation is the one in which we're going to deal with today. So it's the header navigation that we're going to open up. Footer again is something that's all that navigation at the bottom of your homepage, and we can visit that. It tends to stay a little bit more static, but we certainly can reach out to me. So we would click this. We're going to get into something first, and right now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to those pages that we did last time, and you'll notice right here on the pages that we did do a new page feature, and then I added a second page, and then we're going to click on this eye icon right next to those. So if you go back to that page that you created in your pages module, you'll notice that they pop up here in the actual in the actual web browser, and it's good to take a look at those, make sure they look decent, and also you're going to need these for reference during the process, so you can leave those up there. So we go back to the menu. Or actually back to your admin, you're logged in. I just want to go down here just to make sure that it's clear. So I'm going to pick, again, we're going to go back and we're going to add a menu bar right here on here. We're going to add a link to something, but we want to go down. Let's make sure that we're clear about this. You move down to the bottom of your column here with the menu items, click on menu, go to the header navigation, click on that pencil icon to open it up. You'll notice here, shop by category, all the way down to featured brands. And then this order is the way that they're actually laid out on the website. And then you can, actually, we'll show you here. You click at the top, at that plus at the top right-hand side, you to add another menu item. We're going to name it new brand because we're going to feature those brands. So we're going to name it something close to what we're actually dealing with the content on the page. So in that name section, that's the name that will appear on the nav bar. In the URL section here, this is where you're going to put the file name of the actual item. And if you notice, if I scroll over these at the bottom left-hand corner, you can see the website pops up with that file name. So I go to the page. So right here in this URL, I've got the name. Now I need to put something in here. What am I going to put in here? I'm going to go back to that page that it's actually going to link to. And I'm going to swipe across here to and including the /, and I'm going to copy that whole string there, a new brand features with the /. I'm going to copy that piece and I'm going to go back to the menu and I'm going to paste that in this URL field. And then, so I've got the name of that, the nav bar piece. I've got where it's going to go when you click on it. And then I'm going to add access to everybody. So this is just making it public access by selecting all the users. Make sure that that page, that link is active. Double check, make sure that that's right with the /. Make sure you got a decent name on here. And then you go down here, scroll down to the bottom, and then click Save Changes. Now, what you'll end up having to do here is all these changes that you make on the nav bar. There's a safety feature right now on the site that requires an overnight while that takes place. If you're getting into a real zone and you're doing this sort of thing, and you're in the middle of it, what you want to do, because if you notice, if you go back up here, it won't pop up. It'll pop up the next day. If you want to expedite that while you're in actually making changes, and many of you have talked to me, chatted with me online, you get in here and say, hey, Guy, get yourself in gear and refresh my web site so that pops up. So I'll refresh it. I'll write you back politely and say that it is. You'll go in here, you'll refresh your home page, and you'll get the new pieces. But then look what I did here. I made some sort of mistake. I've got way too many. I've got featured brands and new brands. I don't want that featured brands in here. I made this mistake purposely. Of course, I don't normally make mistakes, everybody, but let's say we made a mistake. We go back in to the menus, back into the header navigation, right? Come down here and go, wow, this featured brands thing I do not want. I like my new brands. I don't want this one. I simply hit that trash can to delete it, hit OK, and save changes. And of course, that save changes would still require you to get a hold of me if you wanted to see that right away. Now, we've added that navigation link there and that title on the bar. And I just want to sort of slow down here for a second to show you. Let's go back in and we'll take a look at that. Actually, I'm going to refresh to show you this. New brands. It automatically readjusts. So there it is. There's the new brands. There's the new title, the new link. And lo and behold, if I click on that, it pulls up that page that we created last week. So now you've been able to create a page and you can actually make that page known to your online shopper. Well, we've done one page, but we're saying, we're going to have several. Let's say you get bored with that and want to like, well, we should probably add more than one brand. You know, we've got this brand we've done. We've got now a second brand that we want to add. Notice that each one of these links is just to a particular page, but the shop category has a little caret over to the left here, and I'll just show you that in a second. That indicates that there are subcategories underneath that. And we're going to do that with new brands. So now what we're going to do is, this will be helpful because we're going to repeat the same process we did, but we're just going to add a new sort of feature to it. So we go back in to that menus page, click on that pencil. And what we're going to do is we're going to change this new brands. We're going to click on the plus sign here on the new brands piece, and you'll see that plus sign. We're going to click on that, and we're going to add two sections underneath it. So if you click, you'll notice right away when we do that, that there's a new item indented underneath it. What we're going to do in that new brands one that we just made, I'm going to click back in there. I'm going to steal this page because I don't want it in there. I want it in the items underneath the title. So I'm going to steal that page file name and I'm going to go to the new item where you can see that that's blank and then they want to put a new name. Let's call it brand one. Thanks, guys. And then I'm going to paste that page in there like we did the last time and hit all users. So now when I save this, new brands is going to be there, but brand one will be underneath it. So while we're going in this direction, let's go back in here and let's add that second part to that second brand page. Click this little caret down. Go here, add this plus again to add another option underneath this nav bar title. I'm going to call this one brand two, and then I'm going to do the same exercise. I've got to go back to that page up at the top, and I've got to highlight that whole name plus the /, copy that new one, which is the part two, that's the different page, and put that in the URL. And then I'm hitting all users, hitting save. I'm going to have to refresh that page again, but now what we can see here is that now what we have is the new brand's title. And when you click on that new brand's title, there'll be a brand one that'll take you to a page and a brand two that'll take you to the next page. And then you can do this, put quite a few pieces into this. This helps the navigation, as Abby was talking about, so you can reduce the amount of items that you have at the top and you can add a few subcategories. That just makes it cleaner and a little simpler navigation for the online shopper. So let's go back up then and see what that looks like on the web page, right? We get that refreshed, we refresh that page, and now there's a caret next to new brands. Click on the new brands, boom. You've got brand one that shows up in brand two. So I click on brand one. That's the first feature page we made. Brand two is the second. Now, what I didn't show you, which we just talked about here, was the navigation piece. And that navigation piece is important. You can change the order of these, by the way, by using these carets to go up and down. So I could move this new brand to the front up here by simply clicking this arrow here, and it will move it up and down. And that's how you can arrange those. So again, a recap, go to menus in your menu options. Go to header navigation. Pencil to edit. Add with the plus sign a new navigation piece. It'll pop up new. You populate it with a name that pertains to the topic that you're going to click to. If you wanted to add more, you click under that plus sign on the actual named brand. You add pages, you title it, you make sure it's all users, and you make sure it's active. And then you continue to do that and then save your changes. So just a reminder there, that URL is the /, it mirrors this at the end of the page on your website. So that's an overview. Again, all of this information is going to be available. This video will be available, and there are actual written instructions on our knowledge base page, and we'll give you a link to all that too. That's going to be available for you to use. So that's a real high overview about how to connect the pages that you create with a navigation so that online shoppers can easily get to them. I forgot to mention that Griff's aside here taking, he's actually putting in some stuff. Thanks, Griff. And he's here to If you can open up your chat anytime and ask a question that you'd like. I think we're actually ready for a little Q&A. If anybody has a question, they can type it in there.
Or they can unmute.
They can unmute and also ask the questions directly if you'd like. I know we went through that pretty fast, but we do have the materials for everyone for review.
Yeah, and we will also have a, guess you would call it a handout. It's not really a handout, but a one pager of the navigation stuff that I went over as well with a little bit more detail in there. So I'll provide that as well after the webinar. We have a chat.
Yeah, there's a question about a mobile app. We do have a mobile app for the administration of product and getting a hold of consumers. It's called the Pick and Pack app. We do not have an app for creating web pages, though. I don't know that that would be a very helpful practice. It might be kind of tough, but we do have a Pick and Pack app that you can use to when orders are coming in off the truck. You can actually, just by the tap of a few commands, reach out to the customer and let them know that that product is in, and then you can also use it for when the customer comes in to pick up the product. So it's basically a fulfillment tool for people in the store, for employees.
Yeah, and Sarah, related
An app
to
for
the shopping, yeah, I have a lot of calls where I get that question. So I know it's something that a lot of people want. I don't know. I shouldn't say I don't know. I know it's very far down on the list for Do It Best. I mean, there's the potential it could get moved up one day, but right now I don't think it's a high priority to have that app. And there's a lot of research too that shows that most people, even if they have the app, will end up going to the website. So for example, Lowe's has an app. I have the app on my phone, and I'll be honest, I typically end up going to the website. Now it does push me over to the app a lot of times, but I just end up going to the website just out of habit. So yeah, not at this time, but maybe the future.
Any more questions? Anybody?
Did such a great job.
Yeah.
Questions.
I will tell you what we're going to plan on doing the next couple of webinar series. So we've looked at how we can create pages here. We've looked how we're going to put them on the nav bar. I'm going to spend some time demoing how members combine the digital dashboard, which is our digital advertising tool. It's separate from Mosi, although they're being integrated more and more all the time. So you've got your Mosi website, and then many of you have the digital dashboard. And we're going to show how you can integrate email and Facebook posts in with your site, how it automatically does it, but how you can also do some custom stuff if you want. So that'll be the next webinar series. That'll probably be a couple of weeks, and we'll get an invitation out to you. I don't think I see any more questions.
Yeah, so just a quick reminder, I'm actually sending out an invite today to everyone, just as a reminder. If you guys can meet at Market, obviously, if you can't meet at Market, we are more than happy to meet with you anytime, and I'll include a link for that as well. But be on the lookout for that coming this afternoon. And so those are pretty, well, I shouldn't say, there's really not an average conversation time. I would say anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour. Sometimes they can go a little bit longer if we're in person, which is great. But yeah, if you guys would like to meet at Market over any topics, I'll be sending that out later. Love to meet you in person anyway, even if you just stop by and say hi, since we haven't met in person.
Yep.
A lot of times, then that would be awesome.
Okay, yeah, we'll be sending you out a follow-up with another link to the resource page. We have a knowledge base page for the webinar, which we have all of the training materials and the videos. And then we'll be sending you out same routine. We'll alert you to the next one so that you can sign up and we can get into that next phase. And until then, please feel free to reach out to us. Again, if you're in the system, you can chat with me or one of us will be online, hopefully. And if not, we get back to you as soon as possible. And so I think that concludes our webinar. I hope everybody has a good weekend and take care.
Bye.